This is Bloomberg Markets Balance of Power. I'm David Weston.
And I'm Sherry Yan. As U.S. delegates head to China for further trade talks, President Trump delayed the decision on whether to slap tariffs on allies, including the EU and Canada. One industry closely watching what happens with the aluminum tariff saga is the beer business. Our next guest is Jim McGreevy, President and CEO of the Beer Institute, joining us from Washington. Jim, it's great to have you with us. I have to go back, first of all, to what Commerce Secretary Ross said when these tariffs were being considered. He was saying that an additional, say, import tax of 25% on steel and so forth, that's about 0.6 of 1 cent, that it would actually be very small when it comes to how it affects companies, especially holding a soup can last time. What's been your reaction so far in the beer industry, the brands that you represent, and what have you seen so far?
Well, Sherry, we certainly take issue with the way Commerce Secretary Ross characterized the impact to our industry and to other industries. We estimate that this is a $350 million tax on beer brewers in this country. In a time where there are more breweries than ever in the United States, we are in a very competitive marketplace, not just amongst each brewer, but with wine and spirits in particular. So these tariffs are really affecting our ability to hire more people, renovate a physical plant, and just do our work. And there's a lot of uncertainty even now, 5 weeks into the process, as to how this will all come out.
Having said that, the premium for aluminum delivery made to the U.S. Midwest climbing to the highest in records going back to 2015. So how much of it is because of the tariffs and just because you need more transparency in the pricing system?
Well, we really need both some mitigation or repeal of the tariffs, number one. We have seen the tariffs exacerbate the cost of both the base price of aluminum and the Midwest premium. The base price of aluminum since January has gone up 14%, but the Midwest premium, which is really a shipping and handling fee, has gone up 135%. Since January. And that Midwest premium has fluctuated for a long time. There's no stability to it. And it's created by one company sort of in secret with the input of aluminum producers and aluminum traders who have an interest in seeing a high Midwest premium. So we'd really like to see the Congress or the administration take some action related around the Midwest premium in particular.
So Jim, it's clear that you're not a big fan of these tariffs, without a doubt. But there's not just the tariffs, there are also the Russian sanctions that involve Rusal and the aluminum there that really drove up the price of aluminum. So can you separate out how much of the increased price in aluminum and alumina has been because of the tariffs as opposed to the Russian sanctions?
Well, we think most of it has been because of the tariff. We have seen a dramatic increase in the price of the base price for aluminum on the London Metals Exchange and in the Midwest premium since really the beginning of the investigation, David, in April of 2017. So Rusal certainly plays a role in this, but the tariffs have exacerbated the cost for the end users like beer brewers, and it's really hurting our business, we feel.
So let me make sure I understand. You mentioned wine and spirits. Are you saying that if there were this, as you call it, $350 billion, yes, $350 billion tax that was imposed, it would shift market share away from beer and into wine and spirits?
Well, it's at $350
million. It has to be. Your whole market isn't as big as $350 billion. $350 million. Are you really saying we're going to start drinking more wine and spirits and give up our beers?
Well, we're in a very competitive business, David. The increase in distillers, the increase in wineries, the increase in breweries, this is a highly competitive marketplace. Wine and spirits are largely not in aluminum, so an additional $350 million hit to beer is very difficult for us in a very competitive marketplace.
Yeah, what I realized coming here to the U.S. is that you guys drink much more of those spiked seltzers and so on, and they're lower price competition. So how much more do you need to focus the beer industry into these premium price products in order to compete better?
Listen, the marketplace changes over time. Consumer tastes change over time. So it's really important for us in beer to understand what the consumer's looking for, give them the choice that they need when they go to purchase beer, we hope, over wine and over spirits. And again, these tariffs just sort of get in the way of consumer choice in our view. $350 million in additional cost to beer brewers in a highly competitive marketplace. We'd really like to see the administration understand our point of view on the negative impact of this. We have this Midwest premium issue, which we think the Congress and the administration should be looking out for. This tariff is definitely negative to the end users like brewers.
What about overseas markets? Craft beer, for example, very popular in Asia. Are you hearing from your members that they're looking at more overseas sales?
Well, you know, we're focused as one of the oldest trade associations in Washington, D.C. on the American market and the policies that affect beer. But beer is a global industry, and there's a lot of consumer choices that are coming to other parts of the world, breweries opening up in countries all over the world. But we're really focused on trying to make the regulatory and the tax system in the United States a good one for beer, and we see these tariffs as just the opposite.
Okay, Jim, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate that. Jim McGreevy, he's the president and CEO of the Beer Institute.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Sherry.